Hey, silent fighter. Yes, you. The one who smiles by day but wrestles with invisible wars at night. The one carrying battles no one else can see. You've held on for too long, and now your own mind feels like the enemy. We fight two wars in life, one with the world and one inside our heads. The latter is the deadliest. External events can wound you, but your thoughts keep the wound open. You can sit in a quiet room with no threat and still be flooded with fear, shame, regret, and anger. Why? Because the battlefield is in your brain. You've had those days. Everything looks fine on the outside, yet your mind keeps attacking. One tiny thought, "I'm not good enough," creeps in and spreads like poison. I always screw up. They don't really like me. Left alone, those whispers grow until they rewrite who you think you are. This is why Stoicism matters. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca lived through war, exile, slavery, and betrayal, and they discovered what most people overlook. You can't control the world, but you can control your response to it. As Marcus wrote in Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let that settle. You don't need wealth, perfection, or mastery over every situation. You only need to learn how to respond instead of react. You are not your negative thoughts. You are the observer of them. And because you observe them, you can decide how long they stay. This video isn't a 5-minute feel-good fix. It's for the warrior who's ready to stop living under the weight of their own mind, for the one tired of the voice that says, "You're not enough." Over the next 7 chapters, we'll expose the brutal mental traps that feed negativity and give you the Stoic tools to dismantle them. Don't just watch, study. If you want lasting peace, clarity, and strength, don't skip anything. Each section builds on the last. Before we dive in, I want you to pause for a moment and do something powerful. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am stronger than my negative thoughts. Write it, own it, and let it be your declaration. Then, like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe if you're serious about building inner strength. Now, let's start dismantling negative thoughts, one Stoic truth at a time. Number 1, you are not your thoughts. This is the foundation. You are not your thoughts. At first, that might sound strange. Most of us were raised to believe every thought we have must be part of who we are. But think about it. How many random, weird, dark, or painful thoughts run through your mind in a single day? If every single one defined you, then you'd be switching identities every few minutes. Stoicism teaches something both simple and profound. The mind has 2 parts, what happens and how you respond to it. Negative thoughts will always show up. That's not the problem. The real power lies in how you handle them. Epictetus said, "It isn't events themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." In other words, the thought itself is not the enemy. I failed. I'm ugly. They left me. Those are just words. They only become suffering when you decide to believe them. Otherwise, they're just mental noise. Think of it like this. You see a dark cloud in the sky. You don't panic just because it might rain. You notice it, prepare if needed, and move on. That's how you need to treat negative thoughts. Acknowledge, detach, release. The mistake most people make is turning a passing thought into their identity. I thought something anxious, so I must be an anxious person. I had a negative thought about my relationship, so it must be doomed. No, thoughts are not facts. They're suggestions, not commands. Imagine your mind as a radio station. Just because a song is playing doesn't mean you have to dance to it. You can switch the station. Here's a Stoic exercise. Write down a painful thought and put it on trial. Ask yourself, is this 100% true? What's the real evidence? What would Marcus Aurelius say about this? Will it even matter in 5 years? Most of the time, you'll realize the thought had no real weight. It just felt heavy in the moment. Another powerful tool is labeling. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, say, I'm having a thought that I failed. That one shift creates space, and in that space, you reclaim power. Remember this, you are not your thoughts. You are the sky. Your thoughts? Just passing clouds. Number 2, stop arguing with reality. One of the deepest roots of negative thinking is this, resisting what already is. You don't suffer just because something painful happened. You suffer because your mind keeps replaying the same script. This shouldn't have happened. A breakup, a betrayal, a lost opportunity. Over and over you tell yourself it wasn't supposed to go this way. And that resistance becomes mental torture. But the Stoics uncovered a timeless truth. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Suffering begins the moment we argue with reality. Epictetus said it perfectly. Do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but want them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well. Now, this doesn't mean you should celebrate pain or pretend you're fine when you're not. It means stop wasting energy trying to undo the past or rewrite what's already real. If it happened, it happened. Accept it. Then decide your next step. Picture this. 2 people stand in the rain. One screams at the sky, angry and bitter. The other accepts they're wet, grabs a coat, and keeps walking. Who do you want to be? Most negative thinking comes from wishing the past were different. Why did they leave me? Why did I say that? If only I had taken that chance. But none of these questions change the event. They only keep the wound fresh. The Stoics practice something called amor fati, the love of fate. It means embracing what is, even when it stings. Why? Because you can't control the event, but you can always control your response. For example, you fail an exam or your business idea crashes. A negative mind says, I'm worthless, I never succeed. A Stoic mind says, this is a moment, not my destiny. What can I learn from it? Don't fight the moment, use it. Here's a tool. Whenever your mind says, this shouldn't have happened, catch it. Answer back, but it did, so now what? That single shift puts the power back in your hands. You stop being a victim and start being the author of your story again. And remember this, peace doesn't come from a perfect life. Peace comes from accepting reality and still choosing to move forward. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I accept reality and I grow from it. Number 3, don't trust the first emotion. Here's one of the most dangerous traps people fall into, treating their first emotion like it's the truth. But Stoicism teaches something crucial. Your first feeling is not final wisdom. Anger, fear, jealousy, sadness. These emotions are like storms. They come fast, they roar loud, and they feel overwhelming. But here's the thing. Storms always pass. If you obey every first emotion, your life turns into a roller coaster of chaos. Think of emotions like waves. The first one crashes hard, but if you wait, breathe, and observe instead of reacting, you win. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor under constant stress, wrote, "The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are." Imagine the most powerful man on earth reminding himself to stay calm and see clearly. Let's put this into practice. Suppose your friend ignores your message. The first thought, they don't care about me. But if you pause, you might later find out they were busy, sick, or simply forgot. If you had acted on that first emotion, you might have destroyed a good friendship. Here's the practice. When a negative emotion hits, pause. Name it. Delay your reaction. Tell yourself, I feel anger, but that doesn't mean I'm right. I feel fear, but that doesn't mean I'm in danger. I feel jealous, but that doesn't mean I'm less. Emotions are signals, not orders. Another Stoic tool is the view from above. Picture zooming out of your life. See yourself not from your limited perspective, but from far away, maybe even from space. Suddenly, that argument, that awkward moment, that embarrassing slip-up looks small. Perspective kills unnecessary pain. And one sentence you should keep close. Let me wait before I react. That single line has saved careers, marriages, friendships, and most importantly, your peace. Remember, you are not weak for feeling emotions. You are wise when you don't let them control you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I pause, I choose, I don't react blindly.
Number 5. Your environment feeds your inner dialogue. Let's be real. Your environment is shaping your mind more than you realize. Negative thoughts don't always come from within. Many times, they're being fed to you by what's around you. If you spend your time around people who complain, gossip, or belittle others, you slowly absorb their energy. Your brain mirrors the voices it hears most. If you scroll endlessly through toxic social media, content that triggers insecurity, anger, or shame, your mind becomes hooked on negativity like an addiction. If your space is chaotic, a messy room, a cluttered desk, a noisy home, your stress multiplies and your clarity dies. The Stoics understood this well. That's why they lived with simplicity and order. Because chaos outside always leaks into the inside. Here's the truth that stings. You cannot kill negative thoughts while feeding them every single day. So it's time for an environment detox. Ask yourself, who drains my energy and who calms my spirit? What content am I consuming daily? Does it inspire me or poison me? Is my space supporting clear thinking or adding to my stress? The Stoics weren't only philosophers, they were builders of structure. They valued clean surroundings, meaningful conversations, and simple routines. They knew external discipline creates internal stillness. Here's a challenge. Spend 7 days without gossip, drama, or toxic scrolling. Clean your room. Unfollow accounts that make you compare yourself. Surround yourself with people who want to grow. You'll be amazed how much quieter your mind becomes, not because negative thoughts magically vanish, but because you've stopped feeding the storm. Number 6. You're tired, not broken. Sometimes your negative thinking doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're broken. It simply means you're tired, physically, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. And when you're tired, everything feels heavier than it is. You misread messages, you overthink tiny decisions, you assume people are against you. Your mind spins out of control, not because you're failing, but because you're drained.
The Stoics understood this. They didn't only talk about mindset. They talked about protecting your energy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. But here's the catch. How can you revoke that pain if you haven't slept, haven't eaten well, haven't moved your body, or haven't taken time to just breathe? Too many people try to think their way out of a storm, but often the answer isn't more thinking, it's recovery. Negative thoughts get louder when you're sleep-deprived, when you haven't exercised, when you're drowning in noise, social media, and endless pressure. Sometimes the cure isn't fixing your thoughts, it's giving your nervous system a break. Stoicism was never about being a robot. It's about being rational and responsible with your energy. Even Epictetus, the great teacher of discipline, said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." If your mind is overwhelmed, you can't learn, grow, or think clearly. So give yourself this gift. Sleep earlier tonight. Take a 20-minute walk without your phone. Sit in silence. Rest isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Say no to one thing that drains you today. Write down your worries on paper and then walk away from them. You're not broken, you're simply overrun. Stop treating exhaustion like weakness. See it for what it really is, a signal, a message from your body and mind saying it's time to rest, it's time to refill. Most negative thoughts don't disappear because you fought them. They fade because you stopped running on empty. So remind yourself. Drop this in the comments. I am not broken. I am just resting. Number 7. Gratitude kills negativity. And this one might surprise you. Gratitude isn't just positive thinking. It's a weapon, sharp and powerful, that cuts through the very roots of negativity. Here's why. Negativity thrives on tunnel vision. When you're stuck in it, you only see what's missing. Nothing is working out. Everyone's better than me. Life is unfair. But gratitude cracks that tunnel open. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Most negative thinking is rooted in a sense of lack. Gratitude reminds you that you already have so much. And no, this doesn't mean ignoring your problems. It means balancing your perspective. When life feels heavy, ask yourself, what am I taking for granted right now? What do I have today that I once prayed for? Who is still by my side? Even writing down one single line can start shifting your mindset. For example, you feel lost in your career. That's real. But maybe you're still healthy, safe, fed, and learning. Your relationship is struggling. That hurts. But maybe you've also discovered your own strength, boundaries, and worth. Gratitude is not a fake smile. It's not pretending everything is perfect. It's standing face to face with life and saying, yes, this hurts, but I will still see what's here. Here's the deeper truth. Negative thinking grows in the soil of forgetfulness. The moment you forget your blessings, your small wins, your survival stories, you start believing the lie that life is only pain. So remind yourself. Make it a daily ritual. Every morning or night, write down 3 small things you're grateful for. It could be a deep breath, a warm meal, a good memory, a person who cares, even just the sound of the wind. Do this and you'll notice something. That heavy ache in your chest will loosen. The fog in your head will begin to clear. Because gratitude gives you anchors, and anchors keep you from drowning in the storm. If you've made it this far, let this sink in. You've already started defeating negative thinking. Why? Because awareness is the first cut. And that's exactly what Stoicism trains you to build. This isn't about never having another negative thought. That's not realistic. The Stoics never chased perfection, they chased practice. You've learned something crucial. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. You don't need to argue with reality. You can accept it and grow. Your first emotion is not always your truth. You have the power to pause, reflect, and choose. The stories in your head, they're just stories, and stories can be rewritten. Your environment matters. Clean it up, and your mind will follow. Tired does not mean broken. Sometimes rest, not resistance, is the real medicine. And above all, gratitude is your armor against the darkness. Remember, Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, grief, and pressures greater than most of us could imagine. Yet he wrote every single day, training his mind toward peace. That's the model. Daily practice, quiet strength. You don't need to be loud. You don't need everyone to understand. Just keep showing up for your mind. If you do, your entire life will begin to transform. And if no one reminded you today, you're doing better than you think. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're aware. And from awareness, everything can change. This is how you kill negative thinking, not with force, but with clarity, stillness, and stoic power. If this message helped you, give it a like so more people can find it. Share it with someone who needs peace. Drop your favorite lesson in the comments and subscribe, because together we are building a stoic mind. Final affirmation for today's comments. My mind is my strongest weapon.